Sup, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we're going to be talking about Nostalrius. Now, if you guys don't know what Nostalrius is, it's a vanilla WoW private server, which means that it's not hosted by Blizzard, it's not owned by Blizzard, and it's also not condoned by Blizzard, which is actually really one of the big reasons why I'm making this video. Now, just to give you an idea of what the server is, imagine if you were to log into World of Warcraft in 2006 before Burning Crusade was released. And so that means that all of the old stuff in vanilla WoW is intact. It's basically a crystallized version of the game that people can log in and play for free. Now, this has created, like, over the past year or so that the server's been out, it has created a huge amount of hype. Like, I remember whenever it first was released, everybody was playing it, and then Blizzard put a DMCA, and they were shutting down streams and YouTube videos of the content, because, as I said before, Blizzard does not condone or want to have anybody hosting private servers for a number of reasons that we'll talk about in this video. On top of having a lot of times over 10,000 people playing the server at the same time, it also had close to 1 million registered accounts on its website, and so this was a huge private server. Like, I would say this private server is probably bigger than any server on retail WoW that I could even think of, probably even bigger than like Illidan or Stormrage or Proudmoore or something like that. So anyway, obviously this has generated a huge amount of attention. People have talked about the server for a very long time. I actually made a video about it quite a while ago. A lot of you guys really didn't like what I had to say in this video, and so I really want to do my best job in this video to give you guys the most fair and balanced and reasonable and just well reasoned out argument, and a really kind of just a discussion about the events that have occurred. Now, the reason that I'm making this video is the date is April 6, 2016, and just today I've learned that Blizzard is going to be suing Nostalrius, and because of that, my understanding is the Nostalrius servers will be going down on April 10th. Now, I've heard from some sources that the servers were going to go down on April 10th regardless because they weren't able to pay the server fees. I'm not able to confirm or deny that, but it seems reasonable at the same time. Another thing that you guys need to know is that the servers were hosted in France, and to the best of my knowledge, France basically allows litigation and arbitration, and just like the U.S. can like get somebody, like they can sue somebody in France, I'm pretty sure, and so it's not like somebody's in like Sweden or Switzerland or something like that, like where the Pirate Bay is. So they're not necessarily outside of the United States, is I guess like their legal realm of influence, which is one of the big reasons why I think that Blizzard is able to sue Nostalrius. Now, if Nostalrius was hosted in another country, would this have happened? I'm not really sure. Of course, we can't really play out every scenario, but I think that it would have been definitely a lesser chance than if it was in France, of course, because that's part of the EU, and I'm pretty sure they have extradition agreements with the United States and everything else like that. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that basically Blizzard is shutting down this server. Now, even if they were able to keep the server going with the funds, right, that people donated and everything, Blizzard would probably be able to successfully shut down the server. And so let's kind of get the obvious stuff out of the way. It is illegal in U.S. law to host a private server for World of Warcraft, and the reason for that is because it is Blizzard's intellectual property. They own the intellectual property, and you can go through and look up all of the legal stuff. I know that there are some people who think that it's not illegal. It absolutely is illegal. I don't really know. I don't really know what to say to people who think that it's not, but it is definitely illegal. Vanilla WoW is not abandonware. It is not transformative use. It is not fair use. It is people copying the content. And another really big element to this, and I'm not really trying to argue either side. I want you to understand that. I'm not trying to argue, is Blizzard right? Is Nostalrius right? I think there's a lot of like very self-righteous people coming at this from both sides. And I kind of want to give you guys, as I said before, the most balanced and reasonable point of view that we can get out of this whole situation. So anyway, Blizzard is shutting this server down, and there's a number of reasons for that. Obviously, in U.S. copyright law, there are sometimes that whenever you don't protect your trademarks or copyrights for long enough time, and you don't kind of protect them, because of that, Some of those things can become public use. I think that Xerox might be one of those, but I know that Band-Aid is, Band-Aid does try and protect their copyright. Coca-Cola tries to protect their copyright to where people don't just refer to soda as Coke and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's kind of the same thing with World of Warcraft, but of course, a trademark is much more different than an entire, intellectual property, the intellectual property of an entire game. Okay, so anyway, Blizzard is obviously trying to shut this down because for that reason, of course. Also, because I do think that the private servers do cannibalize a bit of their of Blizzard's income, and we also have to look at the fact that Blizzard is a company. Blizzard is a company. People's lives and well-being, and their source of income is derived and based and dependent on World of Warcraft being able to generate enough income. And whenever servers like this are available, there have been a number of people that I've seen who have said, well, I'm not really going to play live anymore because I just want to play Nostalrius. I don't like the way that live is going. But basically, people quit the live version, the retail version of the game, to play Nostalrius for free. Now, every single time that happens, Blizzard doesn't make money. Now, of course, this is kind of like an issue with copyright also, and I guess not what is it? Copywriting games and stuff like that. Sorry, copywriting games and copywriting music. Like, is somebody pirating a song or something like that? Is that necessarily a lost sale? Like, would this person have bought the song if they weren't able to pirate it? And you can't really necessarily come to that conclusion. And so I think that's also very important to know. And I also kind of want to give you guys my own personal opinion here, just so you guys can know really kind of where I stand, ethically with this whole thing. I think that really the U.S.'s copyright system does more to prevent progress than it does to facilitate it. And I think that a lot of times, especially with patenting, it kind of pulls the ladder up on a lot of companies that are trying to get their foot in the door, and it allows companies to kind of copyright and control different. I'm trying to think of a way to put this, different types of technologies and ways that I maybe like the entire society could be better off, but in a way like the government kind of prevents that from happening, which I think is really kind of a bad thing. So I want you guys to understand that. I don't really agree with the copyright laws that we have in the United States right now. So me arguing for them or explaining what's going on is not necessarily me making excuses for them, because I'm actually kind of in the opposite point of view. But I do understand that there does need to be a certain level of copyright protection. I completely understand that. And I really do think that having a vanilla WoW private server is pretty much on more of the black side of the the gray area of is this okay or not, and the black being kind of a more definitely against the rules, against the law type of idea. And so obviously, the second thing, as I said before, is that it does cannibalize profits from Blizzard and from retail WoW. I do definitely think that happens. Now, how much does that happen? That's what I said before with like pirating songs and stuff. That really you can't really know. But what you can know is that obviously it is against the law, and Blizzard has every right to enforce this copyright. So really kind of what I want you guys to take away from this part of the video is that Blizzard has every right to, sue Nostalrius. Everybody should have probably expected this, but I think everybody's also disappointed that it's happening, which is really what I kind of want to talk about now after we've kind of established that, this is not necessarily like Blizzard like overstepping their bounds or anything like that. They're completely like within the law to do this. It's just really disappointing that it's happening. And I think that really the fact that Nostalrius exists and that so many people, really guys, so many people have got on and played the server. I was almost about to play it. I probably would play it if I could make videos for you guys and share my experience with everybody, but that's actually against the Blizzard will take my videos down if I do that. So anyway, that's why you don't see a lot of big streamers streaming Nostalrius, by the way. They were shutting down Nostalrius streams. I think I said that earlier. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that there are so many people that really, really want to have that experience that they had in Vanilla WoW. So many that they actually, there's tens of thousands of people, close to 1 million registered accounts of this website. I mean, there are thousands. Like, you guys might have seen the stream yesterday. There are thousands of people that play this game. Okay, and so, it obviously goes to show that a lot of people really do miss the way the game was, and I do think that Blizzard is wrong in saying that players don't want that. Blizzard said that basically players think they want a legacy server, basically like a vanilla WoW legacy server, but they don't actually want it. And I think that really, like, whenever you tell people what they do and they don't want, that's automatically going to generate kind of a combative response. But also, I think that they're like factually wrong, and I would say that the success of Nostalrius indicates that very well. Now, I don't really know, like, are they shutting the server down at this point because Legion is coming out? Personally, I don't really think so. And the reason for that is, like, legal proceedings and everything else like this. It probably takes a very long time to get all this stuff sorted out. So this is probably in the works for a number of months. That's probably what I would assume. So what I'm really trying to say is that what we really should look at here is what necessitates this private server. And of course it's not a necessity, but what creates a market for this private server? If the game was so great and so awesome, there would still be private servers, but I don't think any of them would even be 1/10 of the success that Nostalrius had or has, or whatever you want to say. And I think that it's really, Vanilla WoW had that same, it was really much more of an MMORPG than, I guess, like Warlords of Draenor is right now. Vanilla WoW, I talked about this in my Black Desert game. Vanilla WoW was not a game, okay? It was a fantasy world simulator. You would go in, you would log into that game, and it would be kind of like an alter ego, kind of like a projection of yourself that you're really playing through in the game, or at least that's the way I felt, and I think that's the way that a lot of other people felt as well. So whenever you have somebody who has that experience, and they come back and they're playing Warlords of Draenor, and so many elements of Warlords of Draenor are very reminiscent of basically a Skinner box, and I've been very, very vocal in my dislike of a lot of the different systems and design changes that has been happening in from Cataclysm to Mists of Pandaria, and now especially in Warlords of Draenor. Some of that's getting fixed in Legion, and of course they're also replacing some shitty RNG with some really shitty RNG. So I can't really say whether that's going to be better or worse in Legion, but what I can say is that right now at this point, there isn't really a lot of content for players to do in Warlords of Draenor that isn't in itself repetitive. If you want a raid, you basically are repeating the same difficulty of the same raid, different difficulties of the same raid over and over and over, and I just don't really think that really carries the same reward as, moving from, like, let's say Molten Core to Blackling Layer to AQ40 to Next Ramus did, moving from Hellfire Citadel, LFR to Normal to Heroic to Mythic, just doesn't really capture and give you that same sense of progression, because it's really not progression, it's repetition with just added elements and variables and higher numbers. So I really do understand why so many people are moving over and playing that Vanilla WoW private server, and I do share their disappointment that it's being shut down, but I am not surprised. I don't really think that's unfair. It's just sad that the fact that the game is at the state that it is, that so many people want to play Vanilla WoW. And I really want to see the game get back to the way it used to be in Vanilla WoW. Will that ever happen again? I don't know. I really can't say. I'm not going to say yes or no, but I'm not really counting on it, but I always do hope. So I'm really disappointed to see that this happened. I'm not surprised, and even though I've never played on the server, I can understand why a lot of people are really upset about it, and I think that the best thing that we can really do now is try to make sure that Blizzard knows why. If you play Nostalrius, make sure that Blizzard knows why you played Nostalrius. And hopefully, I don't know, will they do anything about it? I don't know. You know what I mean? How can we possibly know that? But it's the best shot that we have, because I don't really think that there's ever going to be a solid private server. I think that Blizzard might make legacy servers whenever they stop developing WoW, and I've said a number of times that I would really, really like to see them make Legion and maybe maybe one other expansion after that, make Warcraft 4, and then just make WoW 2. And this is coming from somebody that has every mount, every pet, and every achievement in the game. I would wipe that shit clean in a second if it meant being able to have that same experience that I had in Vanilla WoW in 2006. And I think there's a lot of other people that feel the same way that I do. And so, change.org petition, it's really not going to do anything. Okay, guys, sorry, it's just not. But in a way, like, it does let them know that there are a lot of people who feel this way. But try to make sure that Blizzard knows what you don't like about the game, why you don't like it, and why you decided that, playing a game that was 10 years older and, didn't have the same features, but, had much more content. What really made that more rewarding, and what makes you want to go back to that game rather than staying in the one that we have now? So anyway, guys, I really hope that I gave everybody a pretty fair and balanced, I don't know if I want to say that, but a very well reasoned out and reasonable and level-headed discussion with you guys about Nostalrius. Let me know what you guys think, and again, make sure that Blizzard knows how you feel. It's important to do that, and just clicking a check mark on a petition does nothing. It just doesn't. Sorry, but I don't really want to say sorry. I kind of feel like I don't know, condescending for saying that, and I don't really mean to be condescending. I just don't really think it'll accomplish the goals that people want it to accomplish. So make sure that Blizzard knows the way that you feel, and let me know how you feel too. If you played on Nostalrius, let me know why you played on Nostalrius, because I do read all the comments, especially on all of my new videos. I try to read every single one, and so I'll be looking and I'll be seeing to see what you guys say. I plan on doing a stream about this in a little bit, and I guess this video is going to come out tomorrow, so you guys won't see that. But if you guys can check my Twitch page, twitch.tv/asmongold, you can check that out and see if I did it, and maybe it might offer a little bit more insight as to really kind of myself fleshing out the whole idea and discussion about this thing as well. So I really do appreciate you guys watching, and as I said before, let them know how you feel, and that's the best shot you've got. So, thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.